Gretchen McCulloch, Because Internet, Understanding the New Rules of Language. In Because Internet, Understanding the New Rules of Language, Gretchen McCulloch delves into the transformation of language and communication due to the advent of the Internet and mobile phones. Through a compelling exploration of linguistic theories, the rise of informal writing, and the development of Internet language, this summary highlights how the digital age has revolutionized our approach to communication. As you discover new aspects of Internet linguistics, consider the power of acronyms, emoji, and memes in shaping contemporary language, and appreciate the metamorphosis it continues to undergo.
The informal writing revolution. Traditional outlets such as books, newspapers, and school essays have typically been associated with formal writing. However, the advent of the Internet and mobile phones shifted language and communication to informal writing styles. This transformation allowed for more accessible and unfiltered exchange, enabling vast, unregulated creativity in our day-to-day communications. Understanding the nature of writing often takes us back to books, magazines, and newspapers, which have played a significant role in shaping our reading abilities. Meanwhile, writing skills have mostly been developed through academic assignments like essays and exam papers. Each of these channels shares a focus on formal writing, which emphasizes proper structure and rules of grammar, syntax, and spelling. Historically, the majority of the written materials we consumed adhered to these formal writing principles, mainly because of the costs associated with printing on paper. To be published, the quality of the content had to be high, ensuring professional and clear communication. That all changed with the emergence of the Internet and mobile phones. These technological advancements have dramatically increased the prevalence of writing in everyday life for ordinary people. Phone calls have given way to emails and text messages. Passionate writers no longer need approval from editors to reach wider audiences, they simply create blogs. In our digital communications, we've embraced a new language style, informal writing. It's spontaneous, raw, conversational, and unfiltered, closely resembling the way we speak. This shift towards informal writing has resulted in a communication revolution, as language itself has evolved. Acronyms, previously utilized in formal writing to save space, are now heavily employed in informal contexts. For instance, by the way for by the way and OMG for oh my god have become widely understood shortcuts in casual exchanges. The Internet has democratized linguistic expression by removing the need for authoritative figures such as teachers and dictionary editors to regulate language rules. Everyone with access to the web now participates in shaping new forms of communication and understanding, unbounded by traditional constraints. This linguistic evolution, sparked by informal writing, has breathed fresh life into our daily discourse, fostering creativity, and making written communication more accessible and relatable to all. The Internet's linguistic revolution. Embark on a linguistic journey across the United States, exploring regional language variations and the profound impact the Internet has had on how we communicate. Uncover the role of social networks in shaping language, and delve into the significance of strong and weak ties in fueling linguistic change. With the web's vast connections, platforms like Twitter drive these changes by encouraging interaction with diverse individuals beyond our inner circles. Hop into a car and head on an east-to-west road trip across the United States. Starting in New York and Washington, chances are you'll hear people calling sugary carbonated beverages soda. Continue westward and witness the transformation from soda to pop around Detroit to Utah, before reverting to soda again once you hit Arizona or California. Curious about the reason behind these linguistic variations? Linguists share the same fascination, delving into the factors that influence differing communication styles. Since the mid-1800s, experts have pondered the evolution of language and expression. Their research took a revolutionary leap with the emergence of the Internet, providing countless opportunities to analyze everyday language. In the pre-Internet era, linguistic researchers would tediously study recorded conversations. However, the digital age delivers an abundant supply of informal, genuine communication samples for linguistic evaluation. Two prominent theories explain language variation, and the impact of Internet linguistics has only fortified their relevance. First, language habits are greatly influenced by surrounding social networks, such as family, friends, or workplace connections. For instance, a community in 1970s Northern Ireland saw the word car pronounced more like care. Linguist Leslie Milroy discovered that a group of young women, who worked in a store already embracing the new pronunciation, triggered this change. Milroy's study also highlighted the impact of strong and weak ties on linguistic evolution. Strong ties, defined as close relationships, usually share similar language habits. Conversely, weak ties, or casual acquaintances, expose individuals to diverse language styles and facilitate linguistic change. The Internet became a catalyst for transforming language as it creates an extensive network of weak ties. Platforms like Twitter propel linguistic changes by encouraging users to follow and interact with those beyond their core networks. With the plethora of social media platforms, forums, and chat rooms, individuals are now exposed to a rich tapestry of communication styles that drive the dynamic evolution of language. But who are the people using the Internet, and how did their online presence emerge? Discover the answers in the upcoming segment. Internet user evolution. As the Internet has evolved, so have its users. The old Internet people were the most influential in shaping online communication due to their technical expertise. They were followed by full and semi-Internet people, who got online for different reasons in the late 1990s and 2000s. Pre- and post-Internet people then emerged, with the former initially resisting technology and the latter growing up immersed in it. The unfolding story of the Internet is marked by distinct groups of users whose impact on communication has been transformative. Old Internet people led the charge, with their knowledge and technical skills laying the groundwork for online language. Linguist Salikoko Mufween's founder effect theory emphasizes that these pioneers hold a disproportionate influence on the development of digital communication. Old Internet people were the first to explore the digital world, and computer literacy was vital. Connecting to the Internet was a technical endeavor, requiring coded commands and programming language know-how. This group developed early Internet language, including acronyms like "by the way" and "FYI", as well as emoticons like smiley face and sad face. As the Internet expanded into the mainstream in the late 1990s and 2000s, full and semi-Internet people followed suit. Full Internet people, usually younger and in school, connected with their peers on platforms such as MSN Messenger and AOL Instant Messenger. In contrast, semi-Internet people primarily utilized the Internet for work-related purposes or functional tasks, like reading the news. Their online interactions focused on maintaining real-world relationships, and they often possessed specialized skills in programs like Photoshop or Microsoft Office. The landscape continued to evolve with the emergence of pre- and post-Internet people. Post-Internet people, too young to remember life without the Internet, grew up with social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as their norm. In contrast, pre-Internet people were older individuals who hesitated to go online due to the steep learning curve. However, the Internet eventually became an unavoidable necessity for everyday tasks, forcing them to adapt and embrace this new digital reality. Online evolution of linguistic expression. The digital era has transformed the way we communicate, giving birth to new linguistic expressions that creatively highlight emotions, emphasis, and intent. The use of the humble period now evokes passive aggressiveness, while capitalization and emoticons bridged the gap between written and spoken language. Moreover, the introduction of LOL and the sarcasm tilde demonstrate the dynamic and adaptable nature of online communication. The manner in which we communicate and express ourselves has undergone significant change as a result of the digital revolution. One notable example is the transformation of the period's role in modern conversations. Now, ending a message with a period can portray annoyance or passive aggression rather than simply acting as a punctuation mark, or worse, by alienating it entirely in favor of shifting to a new line or message. To bridge the gap between spoken language and text-based messages, which often lack the nuances provided by tone or body language, the use of capitalization has emerged. For example, capital letters can indicate emphasis or shouting, providing additional layers of communication to otherwise flat and contextless messages. One of the most famous additions to digital communication is the simple smiley emoticon, smiley face, which began as a substitute for an authentic smile. Over time, the smiley has evolved from a symbol of happiness to a versatile mark that can soften a joke, tone down the aggression in a message, or add an air of playfulness to a stern remark. Another linguistic invention that has evolved over time is LOL. Initially coined in the 1980s by Wayne Pearson to signify laughter, LOL now serves various purposes, from expressing amusement or appreciation of a joke to diffusing awkward situations and even highlighting irony. Irony, in particular, has always been challenging to express in writing as it primarily relies on pitch and nonverbal cues. In the late 17th century, John Wilkins, a British natural philosopher, proposed the use of an inverted exclamation mark to denote irony, but it never gained traction. However, the recent emergence of sarcastic tildes, such as those used in "I'm so glad to be at my parents' house for Christmas," has provided a successful solution. These tildes mimic the sarcastic tone often used to convey irony in spoken language, enabling readers to discern between genuine and ironic statements with ease. As our communication habits continue to evolve with the rise of digital platforms, linguistic expressions also adapt to reflect our intent, emotions, and relationships more accurately. These advancements demonstrate the creative and versatile nature of language, a trait that enriches our dialogues and doubles down on our ability to connect with each other. Embracing emoji's universal appeal. Some people may dislike emoji or consider them a trivial element of communication, but their roots can be traced back to the 1990s in Japan, and they have since become an integral part of popular culture. Emoji fill the gap left by body language in written communication, acting as both emblem gestures and illustrations that add context to our messages. By giving our written language a wider range of expression, emoji allow us to communicate more effectively and add flavor to our conversations. Emojis might elicit a range of reactions, triggering feelings of nostalgia for the emoticon-laden days of yore while also giving rise to concerns about the decline of language in the face of these playful images. However, emojis transcend personal preferences as they have become deeply embedded in contemporary culture. The history of emojis extends back to the 1990s when Japanese mobile carrier SoftBank first introduced them. However, these colorful icons truly gained worldwide traction when smartphone giants Apple and Android embraced them during the 2010s. The initially modest library of 608 symbols has now exploded to include over 2,800 emoji, supported by all major phone providers. But why have emojis garnered such a ubiquitous presence in our online communications? The answer lies in their ability to compensate for what writing cannot convey, those subtle nonverbal cues embedded in spoken language. Emojis provide a visual representation of the body language that is otherwise absent from written communication. There are two key ways emojis function in our language, as emblem gestures and as illustrations. Emblem gestures, like a wink or thumbs up, are easily understood gestures with specific meanings. Emojis have successfully transported these emblem gestures into the realm of writing, enabling us to add nonverbal cues like an eye roll, face with rolling eyes, or a waving hand, to our messages. On the other hand, emojis can also serve as illustrations, reinforcing the meaning of written words and evoking context. For example, birthday messages are often embellished with emojis that represent a birthday cake, balloons, balloon, or gifts, wrapped gift. These illustrative emojis lend more depth and warmth to our text-based communication. Whether you adore or despise emojis, it cannot be denied that they occupy a unique spot in our informal writing. They render new layers of meanings to our texts, turning the nonverbal cues often missing from written communication into vibrant visual representations. By expanding the expressive potential of our digital language, emojis contribute nuance and vitality to the conversations we hold dear. Social media, the new third place. Sociologist Ray Oldenburg's concept of the third place, social spaces separate from work and home that emphasize relaxation and interaction, has evolved with technology. While Oldenburg initially imagined third places as physical locations like pubs and cafes, the growth of social media platforms, online forums, and internet communities now offer virtual spaces where people can connect, communicate, and forge wide-reaching social groups. These digital third places have significant implications for today's societal interactions, civic engagement, and even revolutionary movements. Ray Oldenburg, a sociologist skeptical about technology's impact on society, introduced the idea of the third place in 1989. At the time, he saw these spaces as physical locations, like pubs and cafes, that fostered a sense of community, relaxation, and conversation, all crucial to nurturing civic engagement and supporting the democratic process. Fast forward to the digital age, and it's clear that social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter have become quintessential third places. They offer an environment where people can mix, communicate, and socialize, get to know one another's daily routines, and stay informed about significant events in acquaintances' lives. For modern adolescents, these virtual third places replace traditional weekend activities like going bowling or organizing casual hangouts. Interestingly, the rise of online third places has shaped teenagers' offline behavior, with studies indicating that they now have less sex and engage in fewer risky activities than past generations. Oldenburg also argued that revolutionary movements have their roots in the loose-knit social groups formed within third places. The American Revolution's taverns and the European coffee shops of the Enlightenment served as crucial incubators of change. In today's digital world, social media plays a similar role, exemplified by the 2011 Arab Spring uprisings across the Middle East and North Africa. Activists relied heavily on Twitter as a means of organizing protests and disseminating dissent. Beyond social media, internet forums and online communities further underscore the importance of digital third places. Reddit, the leader in online forums, supports more than 1.2 million unique communities, each dedicated to specific topics, from 3D printing to makeup artistry. Initially, people joined these communities for the content, but soon recognize familiar names and faces, turning these virtual spaces into the essential third places of the digital era, the places where relationships form, ideas ferment, and socio-political movements take root. The evolution of memes. Memes, coined in 1976 by Richard Dawkins, are shareable pieces of cultural information that have existed far longer than the internet. Pre-internet memes, like the "Kilroy was here" graffiti sketch, demonstrate memes' historical presence. Internet memes, including lolcats and Doge, were popularized in the early 2000s and continue to thrive today, frequently featuring deliberate linguistic errors to convey humor. Memes have played a vital role not only in shaping how we communicate, but also in promoting a sense of belonging within communities, drawing borders between insiders and outsiders. The internet has dramatically accelerated the pace at which memes evolve and disseminate, creating an ever-expanding cultural landscape. Coined by evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins in 1976, the term meme refers to shareable pieces of cultural information that persist through social selection. This concept of a meme long predates the internet, as seen in the "Kilroy was here" graffiti sketch, which became popular in Europe during World War II. Internet scholar Lamore Schiffman recognizes this illustration as a prime example of a pre-internet meme. The early 2000s saw the rise of internet memes as we know them today, digital images adorned with superimposed text. As numerous websites emerged, allowing users to upload images and add text with ease, memes gained rapid popularity. One of the first well-known examples originated on the anonymous forum 4chan in 2005, lolcats, comical photos of cats paired with witty captions. Many lolcat memes featured intentional spelling and grammar errors, humorously conveying a cat's presumably limited grasp of the English language. This theme of deliberate linguistic mistakes was later mirrored in the highly successful Doge meme, which showcases a misspelled version of dog. This meme, centered around a photo of a Shiba Inu dog, employs randomly scattered text to reveal the pup's inner monologue while maintaining its distinct linguistic style. The enduring appeal of memes extends beyond their ease of creation and distribution. Participating in meme culture fosters a sense of belonging within a specific community while establishing barriers between insiders and outsiders. Memes often serve as markers of inside jokes and unique subcultures, drawing people in and binding them together. From the explosion of informal language to the clever play on words in the Call of Doge meme, the internet has not only altered the way we communicate but also hastened the evolution and dissemination of memes. As a result, this rapidly changing cultural landscape continues to expand and influence the way we connect and identify with one another.
In conclusion, the internet and mobile devices have dramatically changed the way we communicate, giving rise to new linguistic phenomena and accelerating the rate of language evolution. Acronyms, emoji, and memes now carry significance in daily communication, transcending the boundary between formal and informal writing. Social media platforms act as our modern third places, fostering social interaction and strengthening weak ties that drive linguistic change. As we embrace these new linguistic dimensions, it is essential to recognize and appreciate the dynamic nature of language and the immense impact of technology on communication.